Welcome back, everyone. This is day 3. Today we're going to remove the coils and the spark plugs, and then these end caps for the cams. We're going to get those off because we'll need those off to look at the timing marks. So we'll have to take off those covers right there. You really can't see them. We'll put a light on it. Let's take those covers off right there on the end of the block on both sides so we can see the timing marks. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to get started with that. Like I said, there's the other cover that needs to come off right here. So, all right. All right, so those should be 10 millimeter nuts on the coils there. Also, the number 1 cylinder is the forward here. This is bank 1 on the passenger side, and that is number 1. The most forward coil there, that is number 1 cylinder. So that's the cylinder we're going to read top dead center compression and check our timing. All right. All right, so I've got all the coils out. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the plugs out. And then when I take the plugs out, I'm going to stuff a rag, a paper towel in each one of the cylinders to prevent anything from falling in there. That's the worst thing that could happen is dropping something in the cylinders. So I'm going to take the plugs out, and then I'll stick a shop towel in each one of the plug holes just to prevent anything from falling in there. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and take the plugs out now. All right, so I'm just going to use a 17 millimeter socket. They do make a spark plug socket with a little boot in there. I don't like to use them too much. It's your preference. But 17 millimeter, if you're going to use just a metric deep well. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove those. And like I said, once you remove them, each one I remove, I'm going to put a shop towel in each plug hole. As you can see here, I've got the plugs removed on this side here, and I've got shop towels shoved in the holes. Like I said, to prevent anything from falling in there. That's the worst case scenario you could have, something fall in there and not know about it. So you can see the rags sticking in there. I've got this side done. Like I said, cylinder number 1, passenger side, most forward. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. They are numbered on the coil packs, or on the connector that goes to the coil pack, I should say. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to take a look at these plugs I removed. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all look good. I don't see anything irregular on the color or anything. So I would say this car is running pretty good. I mean, it was running pretty good when I brought it in, but I don't see any issues with any of the cylinders by looking at these plugs. So we're going to go ahead and go take a look at the other side now. So I've got the driver's side spark plugs removed. Like I said, I put rags in all the holes to prevent any foreign object damage on the cylinders. So pull those out. And then I use mechanical fingers there with the magnet on the end to pull the plugs out. Like I said, you can use the socket with the boot in it, but like I said, I'm just using a regular socket. So let's go over here and look at the plugs, see what they look like. They all look pretty good. They all look the same. So they're nice. I don't see any oil or deposits or anything on them. So they're like nice and clean. So I would say there's no issues with any of the cylinders on this car. And like I said, it was running great, and it has no codes on it when we brought it in. So that's another good sign that the motor's running good. So we're going to go ahead and go to the back of the motor and remove those covers to expose the end of the cams. So we can break the crank bolt loose and all that. But we're going to go ahead and pull those covers off down in here. If I can get a light in there. So I'm going to pull that cover off right there, and the same on the other side. So, and also take note, it's got that bracket on the side there, and it holds a harness. So make sure when you put it back together that goes right there. All right, same on the other side. That actually has 3 number 10 nuts on that, the lower, and then it has a number 5 Allen for the 2 upper ones. So number 5's here and 10's on the bottom. All right, I think it's going to be the same on the other side. All right, so we've got our one cover removed on the passenger side there. Nice and clean. Here it is over here. It's removed. I'll have to take the old gasket off and then replace this with a new one. But that's it. This is the passenger side. I'm going to go ahead and bag it and do the same on the driver's side. All right, we've got our left side off, as you can see right there. So now we're going to bag this up. Here it is. This will have to be cleaned off later. I'll take the old seal off when I put the new one on, and I'll stick it in the bag here. But I think the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to try to get the number 1 cylinder top dead center and see if the marks all line up on the timing. So we've raised the car back up. So the next thing I want to do is take this box out of here. Right here, I want to take this out. There's 2 bolts. There's one here. There are number 10s. There's one on this side, one on this side, but this one here is like a 2-piece. So you got this bracket here for the coolant line. Take that off first. You may have to hold the longer portion with a number 10 wrench, and then the bottom is a separate piece. So those have to come off so you can get your socket in here. This is a 36 millimeter nut on the crank bolt. So that's 36 millimeter. So we're going to go ahead and take this metal box out of here at this time. So I've got that metal box out of there now, as you can see. So we can get access with our ratchet. And like I said, that's a 36 millimeter crank bolt. So we're going to go ahead and lower the car, and I'm going to do it from the inside. I'm going to turn it over from the inside.
All right, so my audio messed up on this. So I'm inside the car now. I got my 36 millimeter socket. I'm going to turn this over until I get the lines aligned on the timing gears. So that's what I'm doing here. So there's marks on the timing gears. Don't trust them. You don't know where they came from. But what we're going to do here is we're going to line these marks up on the inside here with the top of the case. So there's some green marks on the gears there. Ideally, they should be number 1 compression. That's what I'm showing here. I'm showing that the number 1 piston is at the top dead center. And then the marks on the gears should be lining with the marks on the top of the case. Which on this car, the gears have been taken off, so they all don't line up like they should be. So you're going to have to use the marks on the camshafts themselves. So that's what I'm kind of showing you here. So right here I'm showing you the pistons at the top dead center. When the piston's coming up and then it stops before it starts to drop is where you want to be. There's like a dead zone there where it doesn't move at all. That's the most ideally location for the top dead center. So this is what I'm showing you here. The piston's all the way up and it's not dropping. So that's about where you want to be. You want to be in the center of that area between when the piston comes up, stops, before it drops back down. You want to be in the center of that ideally on your top dead center compression stroke. So we've got this all lined up. Like I said, the green marks on the top of the gear should be lined up with the case here. That's kind of what I'm showing you. Like you see the green there, it should be lined up on a mark on the case. That's what I'm pointing to. So what we're going to do now is I'm showing you that when this was removed once before. They probably did that when they did the variators. They took the gears off, and that was all moved around at that point. So that's why you don't have all the green lines at the top lining with the case. Someone has moved that around. No big deal. It's still in time. It's just the marks are not correct on the front of it. So you're going to have to make your new marks, which I do later on. So like same thing on the other side is what I'm showing you. The same thing, that the inboard one lines up with the case. The outboard, the exhaust does not. But to verify that, you have to look on the other side. The cam actually lines up. So it really doesn't matter where that gear is at this point. But later on, we're going to make marks. That's where I'm pointing to. So I'm going to take a pen and make marks later on in the video. I do have other videos of the same thing on other Ferrari 360. So this is just for this car. If you want to know what's going on, check out one of my other videos. Like I said, this kind of sucked that it did this, but I'm beyond that point now. So now we're going to go to the back, it looks like, and I'm going to show you the marks. Like I said, it's almost impossible to see these marks on camera. You almost need to use a borescope or a little scope to get in there to see the marks that line up with the cams. Yeah, the case marks aren't bad to see, but the marks on the cams are hard to see. You have to get in there with a mirror, and you can't really record that. But they are lined up. The mark is at, like right now, the camera's like kind of tilted sideways. It would be like at the 5 o'clock mark is on the case. You can see the fixed mark on the case, and then the black piece is your cam. There should be a mark on your cam that lines up with that. Same thing on the other one on the left. And all 4 cams should be the same way. They should be on those marks. So you know that it's on the top dead center, number 1 piston compression stroke. And like I said, I'm showing you here on the driver's side that they're lined up. Like I said, it's hard to see on camera here, but I don't know what to do otherwise to show you guys on the marks. I do have a video that shows timing marks, and I kind of explain it on paper on what it should look like. But there's also marks. If you pull the valve covers off, which we may on this car, it depends on if they're leaking. I see a little bit of leakage in the front possible. We're going to clean it up and check it out. Well, there's marks underneath the case too. So right here, I made some marks on the gears right in the center. You can see with a black marker. So I know I have a starting point and a reference mark. So when I do take the belts off, I can tell if it's moved or not. So that's why I make those marks. Same on both sides. I will lock them in when we'll do another video here on changing belts. This is just preparing to change the belts at this time. So like I said, the green mark on the top on the inboard gear is lined up on the driver's side there, and I believe the gear on the inboard gear on the passenger side was lined up with the timing. It's just the 2 exhaust ones were not lined up. Like I said, those were changed out when they changed the variators, so they moved that gear around. So that's why, in theory, that you should see when it's in time, top dead center, there's little slits in the cover that line up with those marks. In theory, that's how it should work, but it doesn't work that way in reality. Once you start moving that stuff around, I mean, you could sit there and mess around with it all day long to get those lined up, but at the end of the day, physically you need to go in there and check the factory stamped marks on the case. You're not going to rely on these marks on the cover. Like I said, sorry about the audio. All right, so that's the tool we're going to use to lock in the flywheel so we can bust the crank bolt loose. All right, so what I'm showing you there is the tool from Hill Engineering. That's to lock in the flywheel so you can bust the crank bolt. It is an AV3207 is the tool number for that. Like I said, it's from Hill Engineering. You can order it directly from them online. Some of the other parts suppliers, they supply it too, but that's who makes it, Hill Engineering. They're out of Europe, UK. So go ahead if you're going to need one of those, if you're going to be doing any of this stuff. So we're going to go up, and now we're just aligning the flywheel so we can insert that tool. Like I said, it's going to throw our timing marks off now that we made, but when we go back to it, we can just move it a little bit back the other way to get it lined back up. So no big deal. Like I said, it's a 36 millimeter socket, righty-tighty on that, lefty-loosey. It's normal threads. Like I said, I'm lining it up right now. I'm turning the crank bolt right now, and I'm lining it up. The tool will only fit into 2 slots on the flywheel there. So make sure that you have it lined up. Like I say, you may have to tweak it. Now the tool's installed. You're probably going to need a breaker bar and maybe a pipe to break this crank bolt loose. Is what I'm pointing at there. So like I said, make sure you're turning into it is normal threads, so don't break that off. That would be a bad day for you. All right, so now I'm showing you I got the crank bolt removed and the pulley. You're going to go ahead and reinstall that here in a few minutes. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Right there it is without it installed. So we're going to go ahead and slide a cover on there like a sleeve, and then put the bolt back in so we can turn the motor later on after we do the belts. So what I'm going to do is put the bolt back in here eventually, and then I'll line the marks that we made on the timing cam gears, and then we'll lock them in with some vice grips, and I'll show you that whole process when we get to it. But at this time, yeah, we're going to go ahead and remove that now, because there's no sense of having that, because we can't turn the motor through. So once we take that off, once we get the belts on, then we can run the motor through several times just to make sure our timing marks don't jump, make sure everything's still aligned correctly. So that's what I'm showing you right here. So we're going to go ahead and remove that plate. Okay, so I've got the plate removed. So like I said, we're going to leave that off for right now. So other than that, like I said, I put that sleeve on there, put the bolt back in. At this time, a few other things we can do. I'm still waiting on some of the parts. I can try to change oil in that next, but I think that's, if I don't have the parts, that's probably what I'll end up doing, draining the oil and getting that ready. There's no reason why I can't do that. And then we're going to go ahead and probably drain the oil, and then there's a finger screen back in the back that I was going to check too, but we'll go through that when we change the oil. I've seen those finger screens damaged, so that's not good if it's damaged. So we'll go check it out, make sure there's no holes in the screen, and go from there. But anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully the next video I make, the audio doesn't mess up. Like I said, I'm sorry about that. And thanks for watching.